So these are the things that people usually ask me about. What I'm drawing right here is a wrinkle. This would be the outside environment or the lumen. And then what I'm going to do is draw down here, I'm going to draw the borderline between the epidermis. So that's what this is here, epidermis, and the dermis. And we know that the epidermis usually has the pinkish purplish color. I don't know how to pause this. I'm sure I could search it on Google, which I'll do as soon as I'm done with this video. But I don't know how to pause this so I can color in things like this and be like, bloop, now, blah, 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 blah. But we also know that the epidermis has this dark color separating it from the dermis, that everybody thinks that the separation is at the top of this line, but it's not, it's at the bottom. So what have I drawn here? This is a wrinkle. A wrinkle is actually the destruction of your dermis. So the collagen fibers destruct, they can't hold water, and you start to get like a sagging dermis, and that's what causes a wrinkle. So I guess we could draw some collagen fibers here, kind of like sagging and just not in good shape. Stretch marks, which can also show as like small depressions. Stretch marks are also from the collagen bundles being stretched apart. So they're not being destroyed in stretch marks, they're just being stretched apart. Tattoo ink actually collects right here on the borderline of the dermis and the epidermis. So that's the idea, is to pierce the epidermis completely and get into the dermis, and that's where tattoo ink can stay. Now, a blister is from the dermis rubbing against the epidermis. It actually becomes detached from each other in a certain spot, and what happens is, as they rub together, it generates fluid to reduce the friction, and this is what a blister is. It's a fluid accumulation on the borderline between the epidermis and the dermis. Now, there also are these things in your skin called tension lines. And these are what helps a doctor determine, like, okay, this is where I should be cutting, this is the orientation that this cut should be made. And the idea is that when you make a cut, and let's do the cut in like a green. So if you open somebody up and you do that with the tension lines, it's going to be very easy to suture this wound back together. Now, if you have a wound that's like this, and you have tension lines that are like this, it is not going to be easy to suture that wound, right? Because the tension lines are going to be doing what their name indicates. They're going to be pulling or providing tension against the wound. And so now this wound will be very difficult to close. This makes a difference, especially on the legs, where the tension lines are kind of far apart. You have more tension lines around joints, articulations, like more around the shoulder and the armpit, the knee, and the back of the knee. But these are just some things students usually ask me about.